He wants to know if they can put documents.
Let me see. Thank you, officer. I want to call the January meeting of the Planning Commission to order. I will call on Commissioner Hicks for the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this another day that you have allowed us to see. So we thank you for life itself, Lord, and everything else you're doing for us is just a real plus. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to keep your arms of protection around our villages, our towns and cities, our states, our country, and our world, and that you would grant us peace as you do what only you can do. Linger in here with us today, this afternoon, Lord, as we undertake the business before us. Help us to make sound, reasonable decisions and to be good servants to the citizens that we serve. And for these and other things, we thank you and we bless you. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Mr. Wine, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Creekmore,
Here.
Commissioner Eberwein,
Here.
Commissioner Edwards, Commissioner Goodman,
Here.
Commissioner Hicks, Vice Chairman Staler,
Here.
and Chairman Singleton.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wine. Are there any corrections to the December minutes? If not, they will stand approved as printed. We have one item on our agenda today that is not a public hearing, and it's a family transfer subdivision plat FTR 2023-009. Mr. Wine, will you read the caption, please?
Yes, sir. Family Transfer Subdivision Plat FTR 2023-009 submitted by Monica Vollmer, applicant and property owner, requesting a family subdivision pursuant to Section 31514 of the Unified Development Ordinance to approve a family transfer subdivision plat to create 2 new parcels on property located at 1072 Cypress Chapel Road, zoning map 66, parcel 1. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Whaleyville voting borough, zoned A, agricultural zoning district. The city's 2045 comprehensive plan identifies this property as being located within the rural agricultural land use type. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a resolution approving a family transfer subdivision on property located at 1072 Cypress Chapel Road, zoning map 66, parcel 1, account number 052430000, FTR 2023-009. Staff Planner Shannon Wolf will present staff's report.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. As stated, this is a request to create 2 new parcels by family subdivision for the applicant. The subject parcels depicted above is owned by Monica Vollmer and is located off of Cypress Chapel Road. The property is 125.95 acres in size, from which Ms. Vollmer, the owner, proposes to subdivide a 3.396 acre parcel to her daughter, Kendall Grace Vollmer, and a 2.994 acre parcel to her husband, Mickey S. Vollmer. The lot dimensions and building setback lines for the proposed new lots are consistent with the underlying zoning district and have adequate area for a separate dwelling and drain fields. The new parcels front along a 50-foot ingress-egress easement to be established by this plat. The proposed easement extends to Cypress Chapel Road. A deed of gift for the grantees has been prepared in conjunction with this plat, which prohibits the transfer of the property within 10 years of its receipt, and a sworn affidavit was signed acknowledging that the proposed of this family transfer is to provide separate places of residence for the grantees and to keep the family estate within the immediate family. In summary, staff finds that this request meets the criteria for a family subdivision, and the proposed parcel meets all zoning requirements as set forth in the Unified Development Ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the applicant's family transfer subdivision request, FTR 2023-009. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make any additional comments on this family transfer? Hearing none. Commissioners, question, comments, or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move for approval of STR 2023-009.
I second it.
And a second, and that's with the 7 conditions.
So,
Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Wyman, you call for the vote, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bauer?
Yay?
Commissioner Creekmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Epperwine?
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks? Vice Chairman Staler?
yes.
And Chairman Singleton.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved by a vote of 7-0.
If anyone's in the audience or on the viewing audience, this motion has been approved for this family transfer, and there's no action, no other further action is required. Thank you. This afternoon, we have 2 public hearings. The public hearings are, excuse me for a second. The public hearings are for 30 minutes, 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for the opponents, and 5 minutes for rebuttals. This meeting is videotaped and televised for public viewing. The first item on our agenda this afternoon for a public hearing is a conditional use permit request, CUP 2024-024. And Mr. Wyman, will you read the caption, please?
Yes, conditional use permit, CUP 2024-024, 3800 and 3832 Bridge Road, submitted by Casey Calley, Beco Asset Management, applicant on behalf of BEC Investors LLC, Beco Asset Management LLC, and Silos LLC property owners, in accordance with sections 31306 and 31406 of the Unified Development Ordinance, to grant a conditional use permit to establish live entertainment, both outdoor and indoor, after 10 p.m., flea market use, indoor and outdoor, and farmers market use on properties located at 3800 and 3832 Bridge Road, zoning map 12, parcels 55*2*A1 and 55*2*E. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Sleepy Hole voting borough, zoned B2, general commercial zoning district. The 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as being commercial corridor use and multifamily neighborhood within the growth area. When you act on this request, you will be acting on a resolution to present a report and recommendation to City Council relating to conditional use permit CUP 2024-024. Once again, Staff Planner Shannon Wolf will present staff's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon again, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. The application before you is a conditional use permit to establish live entertainment, outdoor and indoor after 10 p.m. use, flea markets, indoor and outdoor use, and farmer market use in multiple areas of the Bridgeport mixed-use development on property zone B2 General Commercial along the Bridge Road US 17 corridor. The city's 2045 comprehensive plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area, commercial corridor land use type, and multifamily neighborhood land use type. The subject parcels are identified as 3800 and 3832 Bridge Road, tax map numbers 12*55*2*A1 and 12*55*2*E. To the north of the property is the Knott's Creek on an undeveloped property, Zone B2, General Commercial. To the south are businesses and undeveloped properties lying on the opposite side of Bridge Road, Zone B2, General Commercial. To the east are additional properties in the Bridgeport development containing mixed-use buildings and commercial uses, Zone B2. To the west is a wholesale plant nursery on property Zone B2, General Commercial. Exhibit C outlines the businesses and outdoor areas to be covered by the CUP. The Bridgeport Plaza is an outdoor area with a stage. Knott's Coffee is a small coffee shop with an outdoor seating area. The Silos and Westside Burgers are restaurants connected by outdoor seating areas. And the market area is parking located along Bridge Road. The CUP is being requested to allow events with live entertainment, farmers markets, and flea markets for the enjoyment of residents of the development and patrons of the restaurants and the community. The applicant has provided the following hours. For the Bridgeport Plaza, Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. as part of other events. Knott's Coffee, Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., indoors and outdoors. The Silos and Westside Burger, Tuesday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. outdoors, and Tuesday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. indoors. The parking lot along Bridge Road, which will only be permitted during flea, farmers, and other holiday markets, will be on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. All flea markets, farmers markets, and/or holiday markets, as well as festivals, will be conducted during the following hours: Saturday and Sunday on various occasions between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. The Bridgeport development has been hosting the requested uses through special events permits and have had no complaints from the residents or surrounding community. Due to special events permits being limited to a certain numbers per year, this CUP will bring them into compliance without having to get continuous special events permits. Staff finds that this conditional use permit request meets the criteria set forth in sections 31-306 and 31-406 of the Unified Development Ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends approval of CUP 2024-024 with the recommended conditions outlined in staff report. Thank you. I'll stand by for any questions after the public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. I will now open the public hearing. Who would like to come forward and speak in favor of this request?
Good afternoon, Chairman and Planning Commission. My name is Chandler Cutright. I live at 1733 Cotton Farm Lane, Suffolk, Virginia. I am in favor of granting the CUP for Bridgeport. It is our goal at Bridgeport to create a dynamic community for all Suffolk residents and visitors. We've been successful at this through various free community events. The CUP would also extend these events to our private businesses, Knott's Coffee Company, and the Silos and Westside Burgers, allowing them to host live music outside when the weather is appropriate and host private events in their indoor and outdoor space with times that would allow things such as a reception or a party. Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this request? Hearing none. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this request? Would you come forward and give us your name, please? No, leave them in the box, please.
Remain to what I'm going to say. Mr. Chairman, Singleton and Vice Chairman Slater, my name is Charles Parkinson. To other members of the commission, thank you for giving of your time and your service. I've been involved in the Bennett's Creek area from the late 60s until the present time. I worked hard in 1974 to have Suffolk and Nansemond come together. I come to you about this conditional use permit. I don't care about what they want to sell, Christmas trees or whatever. But they tell us they want to go talk and have their music out there beyond 10 o'clock at night. Now, if you see it in my picture here, you see I'm within 100 feet of these people. And I live right across the creek. That's what they say. The north, it's only a creek. Well, it is, but it's my house is there. Sometimes when they're playing their drums really loud at night, my windows rattle. I'm getting older now. I'm over 80, and I go to bed a little bit earlier. It stops at 10, okay, but I don't really want it to go much longer than that. I have a long history with this subject property. I purchased this property in 1996 from Mr. J.C. Matthews, Jr., which is my next-door neighbor. And I kept this property. I was the principal owner for over 20 years, where Bridgeport is today. So I have an understanding of what this is and my neighbors. And when it was set up, Mr. Cartwright bought that piece of property from me. Well, like I say, I was the principal. I had some other folks that were in business with me that bought that piece of property. Anyhow, I brought them in. And I say, please, please don't extend the hours to just whenever they want to go, beyond 10. That could be 2 o'clock in the morning or something. What I would like to say, and what I would implore you to do for me is, if you pass this thing, put a decibel limit on it. It can't be but so loud. There's got to be something that's there so that they don't continually disturb our family and the other families around us. Now, we didn't get this. Like I say, I live within, my map is the same thing, 22-55. That's what all these numbers are here. I'm 2255D, 6.1 acres, right across from there. And I didn't get a notice from the city. My son got a notice because he owns Lancaster Farms. He got a notice, but I didn't get a notice. So there are other neighbors that are there that maybe were here like me, that they've expressed it to me at times like, boy, did you hear him last night? That drum sure was loud. Please, if we pass this thing, please, like I say, put a decibel limit on it so they just can't be out there banging them drums at 2 o'clock in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition? Say again, sir?
I beg your pardon? I say, do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions
We
for me?
we don't do questions now, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we will now close the portion for opposition and we'll open for rebuttal. Ms. Cutright, opposition? Rebuttal, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. I'd like to clarify that in the packet that you received, it is clearly outlined that events outdoors will not go past 10 p.m. These are also parameters that we have set forth at the established restaurants, that there will not be outdoor entertainment past 10 p.m. We also have residents that live in this community, and we're respectful of their time and their sleep and their families. Regarding outdoor music that has occurred at Bridgeport, we have a concert series that happens in the fall. These concerts have ended promptly at 10 p.m. every other Friday night, as they have occurred through September and October. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Cutright.
Thank you.
I will now close the public hearing. Commissioners, questions, comments, or motion?
I've got some questions, and I assume Kevin may be the one that could possibly answer this for me. I'm referring this to decoys, which is literally right almost beside my house to a point where I am both on the water. I know that they've policed the 10 p.m. thing with the live outdoor really well. I believe, do they go out there occasionally with a sound meter and check for the sound on these things, on the decibels?
When it has come to our attention that there may be compliance issues as it relates to our noise ordinance, we'll inspect and take it from there.
I guess it's on a complaint basis. Okay. because I was out there at this place Thursday or Friday and looked at it, and the biggest noise factor I can see there is 17, being I live right on 17 as well. So with that said, I'd move for approval of CUP 2024-024.
Approval?
Seconded.
And we have a second. And that's with the 20 conditions that we stated. Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
Wanted to clarify after hearing the gentleman's concerns, when it says outdoor and indoor past 10 p.m., just want to clarify, that means only the indoor can be after 10 p.m., correct?
No, that is correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Other discussion on the motion? Okay. Time you call for the vote, please.
Yes. Commissioners, please vote. Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Scott Wright, congratulations. This will go to City Council for approval with a recommendation from approval from this body on February 19th. The next item on our agenda is the conditional use permit request CUP 2024-00030 D. Bat Shoulders Hill Road. Mr. Wine, will you read the caption, please?
Yes, sir. Conditional use permit request CUP 2024-030 D-Bat Shoulders Hill Road, submitted by Matthew Finch, Go Big LLC, on behalf of Smith Farm Landing LLC, property owner, in accordance with sections 31306 and 31406 of the Unified Development Ordinance, in order to establish an amusement, entertainment, recreation center indoor use on property located on Shoulders Hill Road, Building 1, zoning map 20, parcel 12. The affected area is further identified as being located in the Cypress voting borough, zoned M1 Light Industrial Zoning District and Special Corridor Overlay District. The 2045 Comprehensive Plan designates this area as part of the Northern Growth Area Employment Center land use type. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a resolution to present a report and recommendation to City Council relating to conditional use permit CUP 2024-030. Once again, Staff Planner Shannon Wolf will present staff's report.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. The application before you today is a conditional use permit to establish an amusement, entertainment, and recreation center indoor use on property located on Shoulders Hill Road. The property in question is designated by the 2045 Comprehensive Plan as being within the Northern Growth Area Employment Center land use type and is also part of the SCOD Special Corridor Overlay District. The subject parcel is located on Shoulders Hill Road. To the north of the property is a Norfolk Southern Railroad, single-family detached homes and forested lands zoned M1 Light Industrial. To the south, there are single-family detached homes and forested lands zoned M1. To the east are forested lands zoned M1. And to the west are more single-family detached homes zoned RLM Residential Low Medium Zoning District. On this layout, I'd also like to point out to you guys that the building in question, which you'll see on the next layout, is along Shoulders Hill Road in the section that fronts on Shoulders Hill Road. I know this property kind of used, but I wanted to point out that it is the part that is on Shoulders Hill Road. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to establish an amusement, entertainment, recreation center indoor use in the Shoulders Hill Commerce Park Flex Space Building 1. utilizing a 12,000 square foot building to establish an indoor baseball and softball academy and equipment company that provides indoor practice facilities and professional instruction. This location will bring 5 full-time jobs, 5 part-time jobs, as well as 10 contracted instructor positions. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. DBAT, Developing Beliefs, Attitudes, and Traditions, is a baseball and softball training academy as well as an equipment company that provides indoor practice facilities, professional instruction, and has a nationally recognized product line for baseball and softball players of all ages and ability levels. They have been in business for over 20 years and now operate over 170 locations with 2 local locations in Newport News and Virginia Beach. The Suffolk location will offer a monthly membership, private lessons, camps, clinics, cage rentals, and a fully stocked pro shop. The UDO calls for a minimum of 1.5 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet of indoor recreation use. The building is approximately 12,000 square feet, meaning the 18 parking spaces would be the required minimum. The proposed parking area shown on the Shoulders Hill Road warehouse plan more than covers this requirement. The facility will include batting and pitching cages, storage, a flex/party room, and a pro shop. They will also have a space for birthday parties and sports conditioning. In conclusion, staff finds that this conditional use permit request meets the criteria set forth in 31-306 and 31-406 of the Unified Development Ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends approval of CUP 2024-030 with conditions. This concludes my presentation, and I will stand by for any questions after the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. I will now open the public hearing. Who would like to speak in favor of this request?
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Finch. I'm the owner of DBAT Suffolk, or will be the owner of DBAT Suffolk, and I'm in favor of this request. Let me take a moment to explain what DBAT is. Founded in 1998 in Dallas, Texas, DBAT, Developing Beliefs, Attitudes, and Traditions, is a baseball and softball training academy and equipment company that provides indoor practice facilities, professional instruction, and a national recognized DBAT product line for baseball and softball players. From developmental youth camps and private lessons to the latest equipment and hottest apparel, DBAT is a premier baseball and softball training center and provider of superior wood bats, gloves, baseballs, and training aids. DBAT has opened now 180-plus locations nationwide with localities in Virginia Beach and Newport News. DBAT Suffolk will be located in Building 1 of the Shoulders Hill Commerce Park. At 12,000 square feet and 11 cages, it brings top-notch instruction to the city of Suffolk. DBAT Suffolk will offer monthly memberships, private lessons, camps, clinics, cage rentals, and a fully stocked pro shop powered by Rawlings. At DBAT, our mission is to provide quality teaching environment with quality instruction to enhance the baseball and softball experience from players at all levels and Little League through the pros. For over 20 years, DBAT has positively impacted the players' careers of thousands of ball players. As a young player, there's nothing worse than striking out, and as a parent, you wish you could be in the batter's box for our kids. Not only will it help Suffolk improve baseball and softball teams, players, and coaches, but the surrounding areas of Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Isle of Wight as well. I'm excited to bring this to the community, and thank you for your time to let me speak today.
Thank you, Mr. Finch. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this request? You can have your seat, Mr. Finch.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone in the audience in opposition to this request? Seeing none. Do you have any additional comments you'd like to make, Mr. Finch? Yes, sir. Thank you. I will now close the public hearing. Commissioners, questions, comments, or a motion?
I make my motion. I have a question. I guess it's of Kevin. Are we at any risk continuing to to speak of, to reference the 2045 comprehensive plan as opposed to the 2035, since we haven't approved it yet?
Oh, the comprehensive plan was approved by
what?
City Council at their December 18th meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm slow. Then I make a motion that we approve CUP 2024-030 with any, let me see, any conditions.
I'll second that.
May I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Ma'am, you call for the vote, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, please vote. Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Finch. This will go to City Council on February 19th with a recommendation for approval from this body. Okay? That concludes our public hearings for today. We have item old business, the staff report of the proposed capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2026-2035. And Mr. Wine, you have any comments for Mr. Meek's going to come up?
Not many. But as you may recall, at your last meeting back in December, our Director of Finance, Charles Meek, provided you with an overview, a pretty detailed overview of the proposed capital improvements plan for this upcoming cycle. And today, he'll provide you another briefer overview, is my understanding, and it's scheduled for action. So.
Great. Good afternoon, members of the Planning Commission. As Kevin indicated at your last meeting, gave a pretty detailed overview of the proposed CIP. You've had a chance over the last month to dive into that, and we'll just give you some highlights today, and then hopefully take any comments you may have, and then hopefully get adoption and move it on to City Council. The proposed CIP for 2026 through 2035, with a focus on the first 5 years, totals $533,859,230 across all the funds. Public Utilities Fund at $101.8 million, Fleet Fund at $4.2, Stormwater 17.3, Transit 5.1, the Refuse Fund at $3 million, and the General Government Fund, which houses most of our service area projects, at $402.5 million. The priorities that we developed as we were putting together the CIP included completing ongoing projects that were already started, maintaining our buildings and facilities, leveraging state and federal funds where feasible for projects, enhancing the quality of life for our citizens, and addressing regulatory changes such as lead service lines, and then maintaining the affordability and compliance with our key financial policies. Some of the project highlights in the general government area and parks and recreation includes our capital maintenance project with Bennett's Creek boat ramp replacement in fiscal year 26. We've got Holland ball field lights in fiscal year 28. The Lone Star Lakes Park roadway improvements in fiscal year 26. Continuing the Seaboard Coastline Trail with Phase 1 and Phase 3 between fiscal years 26 and 28. The Driver Complex at the former transmitter site, developing some ball fields at that location, funding in place in fiscal year 26. The East Suffolk Athletics Fields, developing multi-purpose field and a walking trail at that site which has been provided to the city from the schools. And then the water access in Ansman River, which is the former Brady's Marina site, developing a boat ramp and park amenities at that facility. In our city buildings and facilities, continuing with capital maintenance projects annually, specifically in fiscal year 26, replacing the HVAC units at the North Suffolk Library and building out space here in City Hall for staff space needs. The access road to the Joint Operations Center training complex on Carolina Road. We have funding in place for that. The Virginian Pilot Building renovations, which was acquired by the Economic Development Authority. Some funding here to renovate the space there to address some courthouse and city space needs. And then the homeless shelter renovations with the city acquiring the former Regal Inn this past year. In the area of public safety, we have a number of fire engine and apparatus replacements along with ambulance replacements, funding to complete the Station 4 replacement at Lake Kilby, along with an ambulance addition medic unit to serve that facility. Self-contained breathing apparatus in fiscal year 28, which has to be replaced about every 10 years. Station 9 and Station 10 upgrades and renovations at the Kings Highway Station and the Bennett's Pasture Station. And then some renovations to the facility in Whaleyville that is being used as a police training center. In transportation, we have a number of projects. This is not an exhaustive list, but trying to make improvements to improve the flow of transportation and traffic safety. The Godwin Boulevard improvements, Route 17 road widening, Shoulders Hill Phase 2 and 3, Route 17 Crittenden Road intersection, the diverging Diamond interchange at Godwin, Shoulders Hill Road and Route 17 intersection, which is underway, additional funding for that. Route 460 improvements in fiscal year 26, and then Town Point sidewalk. In the area of schools, a couple of the major projects there include the Northern Shores Elementary Addition, adding a second wing to that school to address capacity issues, and then replacing the Elephants Fork Elementary School. And then lastly, the school administration offices, we currently lease space. We have some opportunity to potentially acquire property and have a new school administration office. Village and neighborhoods, continuing with the Lloyd Place and Rosemont closed drainage and street improvements, acquiring open space, land acquisition for neighborhood improvements, and then continuing with the implementation of the downtown plan, which would include streetscape improvements in downtown, some public art and mural projects, improvements to the Phoenix Bank property, the SunTrust Bank redevelopment, which has been acquired by the city, wayfinding and gateway improvements as well. In public utilities, we have our water source development and treatment plant expansion. Two main projects here are the surface water treatment plant is in need of expansion. We'll be getting that underway in fiscal year 26, and that will occur over about 4 years. And then the groundwater permit renewal in fiscal year 26 and 27. The southern transmission main, underwater distribution and transmission system expansion over a 3 or 4 year period, and then various water system upgrades to address undersized infrastructure and rehab and replace aging pipes. Water service line replacements is to address regulatory requirements, especially with lead service lines, find and fix repairs, and then water meter upgrades and exceptions. On the sewer side, we've programmed funding in here for minor extensions into developed areas every other year, and then find and fix and flow monitoring, and then various pump station and neighborhood sewer infrastructure improvements. Stormwater, we have a number of projects across the city to address drainage infrastructure and alleviate flooding. Projects include citywide drainage, the Murphy's Mill culvert improvements, Oakland drainage, downtown infrastructure improvements, Whaleyville and Holland Village drainage improvements, the Woodrow South Suffolk drainage project, Wilkins Drive drainage, Old Town, and Jefferson Street drainage projects. We have a new project this year under refuse. It's the sanitation facility, currently located down the street here off of Pine Street, looking to relocate that facility, and we have some program funding in here in fiscal year 30 to begin design. The transit fund, 2 projects, the College Drive bus lane or pullout lane, and then the transit operations facility. And then in fleet, we have our existing fleet facility off of out near Kenyon Road. We need additional space, and so we're looking to replace that facility with a new facility at our Carolina Road complex. So we have funding program for design in fiscal year 30. That concludes the project highlights. I have with me today various department heads. If you have any detailed questions, recommended edits, we would ask that you consider adopting the CIP today so that we can then move it forward to City Council at their first meeting in February. We're planning a public hearing at the second meeting, and then as I indicated in our meeting in December, the first year of the CIP is then put forward in the capital budget proposal by the city manager. And with that, we'll take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks. Commissioners, questions?
I do have a couple of things. Charles, great job, by the way. Commissioner Goodwin and myself were on the 2 representatives of the Planning Commission that were fortunate to had the opportunity to meet with you and go through this in detail. So this is my 3rd time around on this particular plan. I've got a couple of questions and a couple of comments. One, would it be possible for the fire chief, is the fire chief here, or fire and rescue? Just got a simple question concerning some stuff, maybe. I bet you didn't think you were going to have to say anything, did you?
No, sir.
And really, I have no problem with the CIP dealing with the fire department, and in fact, pretty much I feel like it's a really good plan. My question relates to concern for the citizens of the city. Obviously, with what we've been seeing with the California wildfires, and it seemed it came down to underbrush and to lack of water. Being able to fight something of course, of that magnitude is phenomenal. and in riding around and looking at our community, our neighborhood, I realize we're not California. We're definitely not Los Angeles. But we have a lot of underbrush. We have a lot of areas where it's just growth that dries out. I know we have a much better water table maybe than California does. But dealing with the amount of water, I would presume, because I know we've had some wildfires in the outlying areas this year, that I think the Virginia Department, they help with bulldozers, et cetera. So we've got a pretty good program, and it looks like it's been very effective for those we've had to contend with. And I guess the other thing would be a lot of these outlying areas do not have water sources, so you're using, I would have to say, pumper trucks, et cetera. Or our equipment, I guess it's equipped to be able to use ponds or creeks or whatever to supplement any in the outlying areas, if anything like that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So we actually have a program with the Virginia Department of Forestry that we actually identify stagnant water sources in these areas that we don't have hydrants. And through a grant process, and I think it's a 50-50 match, if I'm not mistaken, but through that process, we actually go and identify water sources. A lot of them are farm ponds or stuff like that, that we actually put a dry hydrant in that area. So actually, we do have access to water in those certain areas. It's a partnership with them also, with the Virginia Department of Forestry. So that helps us on the water supply issue when we don't have hydrant areas. Also, the stations that we don't have hydrants in, per se, we actually have a tanker or a tender full of water that we always take with us to a fire. So in the southern part, some of the northern parts of Chugatuck, southern parts of Highland and Whaleyville, we actually have a trucking house that hauls the water for us. And also those outline stations actually have brush units also that are equipped with equipment just for brush fires and stuff. So we feel like we're really prepared on that aspect if we do have a wildfire or something like that break out here. Which we are, like you said too, we're dealing with two different terrains. You know, California's a lot of hills. They have a lot of underbrush. They actually have programs to go out and the citizens cut their own underbrush around these houses and other places to actually help the urban infrastructure part of, helping with before the wildfire, trying to prevent that. Here we don't have said underbrush, so that's really not I don't want to say it's concern, but it really has to get dry, and we don't have those. It's two different types of terrains. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. And I guess a follow-up to that would be, as far as water capacity, and I presume that that's constantly on the top of the list for as the residential areas, et cetera, the downtown areas, and the populated areas, that we do have fire hydrant capacity to take care of the regional area.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for everything you do. I'm always impressed. I see your trucks all the time, all around everywhere, so you guys do a fantastic job. So I just wanted to bring that up to make sure that we're covered, which I figured we were.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
All right. Thanks.
Stay where you are for a second. Any other questions for the fire department?
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And then continuing on just a little bit, in dealing with looking at how all the allocations of the funds are going, and I mentioned this at our earlier meeting, that it's been impressive with me, Mark Furlow with Parks and Rec, in that I think this is the 10th one that I've been involved in, or 9th one, and it seems like we have moved the arrow towards more and more assistance out of the capital improvement plan towards parks and recreation. And that's something that all of the citizens of this city have the opportunity to enjoy. So Mark, thanks for everything you're doing. You must be one active guy with all the projects and things that are going on that I know about. And everything I get back, feedback from the citizens, is that they're very impressed with what we're doing, with all of the activities. I know when they have the city council meetings and you start looking at all of the things that are available to the local citizens, a lot of it is involved with either the libraries or Parks and Rec. So great job. Keep up the good work. That's all I have.
Okay. Anyone else question? I have one question, and it's probably for Mr. Lewis. On the Godwin Boulevard, I think the terminology was diamond merge or something? Merging diamond, okay.
Sir.
You give us a rundown on that diamond merger?
Merging diamond interchange. So one of the things that in the transportation field that's been occurring over the last number of years is there's been a lot of innovation, a lot of research done, and a lot of different things. So if you go to VDOT's website, actually you can just go to Google and just Google the term diverging diamond interchange. You're going to see it's a very interesting way to handle traffic at a urbanized interchange on a high-speed arterial road where it's limited access. It's kind of hard to explain just right off the bat, but just real quickly, what's going to happen is as you approach that on, let's say, Godwin Boulevard, you'll come to a traffic signal, and when the traffic signal changes, essentially traffic swaps sides of the road. Oh. So you suddenly realize you're driving on the opposite side of the road. Maybe, maybe not. But once you get inside of that interchange, then everything then on is free flow. You can free flow onto the interstate. You can free flow back off of the bypass or the interstate, as the case may be. You get to the far end, you come to a traffic signal, and you go back to your normal sides. What I would share with you, if you've ever had the opportunity to drive 64 up towards Charlottesville, just outside of Charlottesville, there's an interchange there at Route 15, otherwise known as Zion's Crossroads. That is one of the first diverging diamonds that was built in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's a very efficient thing. In fact, I, as a transportation official, I drove through it 3 times before I realized what I was driving in. And I actually had to go back and bring the aerial photo up and look at it to realize that. But anyway, if you go to VDOT's site and you just say, hey, show me the innovative intersections, there's about a dozen to 15 different things that you can do that's kind of out of the ordinary, never been done, but actually manage traffic a lot better. And again, these items actually have a much better chance of being funded. So again, we did this in cooperation with VDOT a number of years ago, did a study. VDOT come back, we said, we think this is a great place for a diverging diamond. We reviewed it and we said, we concur. Let's go find some money. And now we're at the point we have some money, we're beginning the process. Something very similar is probably going to occur at the 460 interchange in the near future, but it is the wave of the future, some of these new innovative intersections. But again, if I can help you find any more information on it, I'll be happy to do that. There's some videos out there. Really what's insightful is watch the videos that you can find online where they actually give you a purview as you as a driver driving through one of these and seeing how well they work.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. You give me homework, right? Commissioners, any other?
Yeah, can I get him to stay just 1 second? Can you refresh my memory on phase 2 and 3 of Shoulders Hill project?
Yes, ma'am. So the first phase that we're under construction right now goes down to the first street going into the 2 new neighborhoods there. That's phase 1. Phase 2 will then pick up and go from there to Bennett's Creek Park Road. And phase 3 will go from Bennett's Creek Park Road down to just past Pewsville. And ultimately, he'll hope one day to be a phase 4 to take it all the way to Nansemond Parkway. But those other next 2 phases are out in the capital budget. They're coming. We're just waiting for money to become available to start the design and hopefully build those roads very quickly. They're certainly needed.
Thank you.
I have a question also for you, if that's okay. I just jump back in. There's some money in the capital improvement plan for the Kings Highway Bridge. I think the study for that. There's all kinds of rumors floating around as to where. Is that being looked at from both standpoints of crossing and tying into Route 10 as well as just extending it where it was? Is that still open?
No, sir. That was actually decided by City Council about 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
We went through a whole process. We polled the community. We got input. We brought up all the information in. City Council made the decision. We're looking at what we call the new alignment, which essentially crosses at a whole brand-new spot. So it leaves similar to where the old bridge did out there at Glebe Point, but it goes straight across the river and will ultimately land somewhere around 5 Mile Road interchange on Godwin Boulevard. So as part of this study money, as you said, which was brought to us by our senators, it kicks us off. So one of the first things we need to do is we're looking at fatal flaws. Is there anything out there that we have overlooked? Is there any little animal out there, something that's in the way that's going to create a major problem? So we're kicking that off. We're doing that. When we do that, it's part of what's called the NEPA process, the National Environmental Protection Act. Thank you, Charles. We actually have to look at the old alignment because we have to say we've looked at that. Even though we looked at that a number of years ago, we've got to check those boxes with the federal government. And we're beginning that process right now. But as far as the actual alignment the city's pursuing, it is that new alternate alignment.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Bill Commissioner, yeah, Ms. Hicks.
May I move adoption of FY 2026 through 2035 CIP?
Gladly accept that.
Second the motion.
You got a second? Any discussion or motion? Call the roll, Mr. Hawaiian.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Commissioner Creekmore.
Yes.
Commissioner Eberwein.
Yes.
Commissioner Goodman.
Yes.
Commissioner Hicks. Vice Chairman Staler.
Yes.
And Chairman Singleton.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Thanks for all your input, and thanks for staff's input. And Mr. Meeks, thanks for all your work. And the adoption is going to council, and it's out of our hands now. Okay, we did our part. Thanks again for all the departments heads for your inputs. Let's move to new business. Mr. Wine, you want to bring us abreast of?
So at the December 18th meeting of City Council, there were several items that went before them for their consideration. The Woodland Towns rezoning, which for all intents and purposes is a second phase of the Parkwood development that you may recall from several months ago. But right there on Carolina Road, near Hunter Street, just north of Hunter Street. That was approved with proffers. The Nansman precast rezoning and conditional use permit, they were both considered, and those were approved with proffers on the rezoning side and with the conditions on the CUP side. The SCARP solar project, that was a conditional use permit, that was denied by City Council. And lastly, the 2045 comprehensive plan was approved by City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Wine. There was no
Chairman,
preliminary.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
At this point, the solar piece, they seem to keep getting denied. Is there some central reason why they're getting denied at the next level, at the council level?
I wouldn't say there's a central reason. It's very case by case. Location matters. The key issue that was debated as it relates to the SCARP solar project involved impending residential to be constructed across the street and some noise concerns from a nearby facility, the Stratford Solar Facility, which is not that far from the proposed SCARP facility.
Can I follow with that? Just, Kevin, and I meant to bring this up earlier today, and it just slipped my mind. I watched the city council meeting from last Wednesday when they were dealing with the solar farm out in Tuckatuck, which it did pass 7-1. But the the mayor made some comments dealing with the sound study. I believe that one contained a pretty comprehensive sound study, and council spent a considerable amount of time on that part of that. In our ordinance, for a solar farm, do we require a study such as that now?
Yes, we do.
So that is included, because I think it was brought up, I believe the mayor made the comment that it wasn't a requirement, but they had a study in there. But that is a requirement. We made that change at one of our changes back.
Yeah, your most recent change that you all saw related to our solar supplemental standards was pretty comprehensive.
Right.
And we overhauled it quite thoroughly to include providing staff with a sound study.
So that is included now?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. I couldn't remember if we had added that or not, but yeah, it makes sense. Good. Thank you.
Any other comments by commissioners? Stand adjourned.